Hello everyone and welcome back to a short EP review. In this video I'm going to review The Floor is Crawling with Cheap Pornography and Lush Entries by Richard Ramirez. This is a brand new, sort of a double EP release in tapes from the label Deathbed Tapes, which is a label that I have heard some previous works before, a label that in a very short period of time it has actually managed to bring some very good and well-known names in the underground noise scene like Masona and Vomir and Torturing Nurse and lots of others. And in this case we also have a work of Richard Ramirez, who, if you are in the noise music scene, you probably know of Richard Ramirez. He's one of the more well-known artists in the harsh noise and harsh noise wall scene, with multiple various projects going from like back in the early 90s and also having lots of other different names and being in lots of groups. Like, you think Aphex Twin has lots of different names? Go and check out the ones from Richard Ramirez. I'm pretty sure even he himself can't keep up with every single name he has put under his projects. With that being said, these two cassette tapes are two sort of different projects combined into one. The main release is The Floor is Crawling with Cheap Pornography, while on the other hand, Lush Entries is a bonus release coming in a special edition in a cassette bundle, also containing a USB flash drive with 40 minutes of hardcore music video 18 plus. And I'm kind of concerned with this. I am curious. On the other hand, I don't know if I'm that curious of what this 40-minute footage is showing. And if you can't get it from the title of this thing, this project is actually quite disturbing. Even musically wise, I haven't heard that many Richard Ramirez projects. I think I should dig up further since he has lots of interesting stuff, but I like how adventurous this one is in particular, and I'm talking about the main tape. It is quite notorious in its nature and it has moments that sound kind of not safe for work, as you hear some sort of orgasm and screams being highly distorted, and it makes for a quite unsettling result. What is great about this project though is how unexpected it is. Those whole two tracks are full of surprises, and we're talking about two tracks going for 10 minutes long each, and that's pretty much the case with the other tape. But with the main one, I like how adventurous and how versatile it is. There is a lot going on with all of the sounds contained in those two lengthy tracks, and it's nice how it keeps up your interest. And one of the main things this album uses is lots of different noise and volume variations. This is something that reminds me some of the most essential works from Jason Kramer, as he is one of those artists that I would say he uses this sort of approach in his noise music the most, making some of his works his most significant in the noise scene. And this is pretty much the same with this project from Richard Ramirez, as it has lots of moments that are unexpected with all of those variations in volume, with some moments sounding not so loud and some others being extremely loud. There is this element of surprise with this project, and it's so constant, and it just manages to keep your attention and just keep you at the edge of your seat. And for all of those reasons, this is a great project. The track Servicing the Streets at Midnight has lots of variations with its noise segments, but at the end of it, it gets really disturbing with those vocals and those screams being distorted. It sounds like a hardcore snuff porn film, and this drags on with a very nice transition onto the second half, Shower Me with Cum and Bruises. What an impressive title. The one little issue I have with this track is that towards the second half of the song, it has a more sort of like dark ambient passage that is slightly repetitive and it doesn't bring all that much, but at the final minutes it gets really loud, really distorted and quite insane. On the other hand, the last entry's tape is far less adventurous with far less variations, and so it didn't manage to keep my interest as much throughout the whole thing, even though part 2 has a slightly more variation and it manages to be slightly more interesting. This feels like a fairly more balanced work in terms of noise and volume, even though it has lots of lengthy passages of this eerie, noisy drone atmosphere that it's not quite that loud, and then the tracks have segments that can get very loud once again. But Last Entries definitely goes more into the harsh noise wall oriented side of Richard Ramirez, and it's not necessarily a bad thing as the tracks are varied enough to at least keep your attention in some segments and being quite interesting. The Floor is Scrolling with Cheap Pornography is a very solid noise release and a very good work from Richard Ramirez. On the other hand, the bonus cassette Last Entries is not as interesting. It has some nice moments to it, but it doesn't have the adventurous and menacing feel of the main title. Other than that, a very solid work of Deathbed tapes and Richard Ramirez. I'm going to give The Floor is Scrolling with Cheap Pornography an 8- out of 10 and Last Entries a 6+ out of 10. What's your opinion on these two cassettes? Like them, dislike them, why, and what do you want me to review next time? Let me know down in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more content like this. Thank you for watching and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.